So the last topic for this particular module is EC2 pricing options. So we have these three different pricing options: on demand, savings plan, and spot instances. So when we talk about on demand, then these are the instances, as the name suggests, they can be launched and used according to the demand. If I want to test something and I want to launch one instance, I can just launch it within few minutes and few clicks. So you are paying for this instance on hourly basis, and you do not require any long-term commitments or upfront payment for this. It is the most flexible option, which is useful when you want to run your short-term workloads where your workloads are irregular or unpredictable. And you are only paying for the compute that you are using. So you can pay per hour or per second. It depends up to the instance type that we have selected. Then we have savings plan. So it is a flexible model. Now see, into the savings plan, we have two options. We have compute savings plan, we have EC2 savings plan. So if we are talking about compute saving plan, it is a flexible pricing model which will provide us the instances at the discounted rate. And how much of discount we can get? We can get 66% of discount on demand instances. What is Fargate? We'll be understanding that in the containerization module. So don't worry if you're not understanding it as now. The only thing over here to be noticed in savings plan is you require the commitment of 1 year or 3-year term plan. So you have to pay for 1 year. You have to, it is not the upfront cost. You can just divide it in, you can pay it quarterly, you can pay it half yearly, you can pay upfront as well. You can pay it on the monthly basis as well. So it depends up to you that how do you want to pay for it. But even if you are using those instances which you have reserved, or you're not using those instances, you have to pay for 1 year, whatever, 1 year or 3 year, whatever you have chosen. Right? So this gives us flexibility across instance family, means you can select any instance family, any size, any operating system or tenancy options. But with EC2 saving plan, it is just flexible across size, operating system and tenancy. You cannot change the instance family. You cannot change the region. You cannot change, you cannot change the region or say instance family. So that's why, because of that rigidity coming into the picture, this further provides us with more discounted rate of 72% on on-demand prices. And this also takes 1 or 3 year commitment from the user. The last pricing option that we have is spot instances. So spot instances will allow the customer to bid on unused EC2 capacity. Right. So if there are some unused EC2 instances into a specific availability zone, then you can receive these spot instances at 90% of discount on demand prices. This is very cost-effective option that we can have, but the only drawback is AWS can reclaim this capacity at any time by just giving 2-minute notice to us. So if your workload is fault tolerant and can be interrupted, then you can use these spot instances. So here you bid for the spot instances. Suppose you say that I am willing to pay $0.5 per hour. So this is your bid price. And there is something called as spot price. Okay, this will be hourly updated spot price. So let's say if the spot price is $0.25, then you would be getting the spot instances. But next hour, because the demand of on-demand instances is increasing, then unused EC2 instance capacity is reducing in the backend. So the spot price will increase. And let's say if the spot price is going to $0.75 per hour and your bid price is $0.5 per hour, then you will not be getting that spot instances. So it would be taken away from you by giving 2-minute notice or warning. So this is about the different pricing options that we have on EC2 instance. Now, more we would be discussing about this on the portal because it would be easier for you to understand it over there. Okay, everyone. So I am on my AWS management console, right? So we'll be going to our EC2 service from here. So let's get to EC2 and see what do we have. I am into my row count, just so you know. Okay. So this is the EC2 dashboard where you can see instances running, how many instances are created, okay, what are the security groups, volumes, etc. So we'll be just going to the instances from the left-hand pane that we have, okay. So you can see many of the instances are created, but they are all into the stopped state. Now you would be learning something more, something extra than the PPTs, okay. We would be discussing about few more things over here. So we will first of all launch one instance. So for launching the instance, we'll just click on this launch instance button in orange that we have in the top right corner. So you have to give the name to your instance, right? So let's say that this is one sample instance that I have. Okay, sample instance 1 is what I am naming this. Now this is Amazon machine image that we discussed. What it will contain the software configuration such as operating system, application servers, applications that require to launch your instance. So how many AMIs were there? So you can see over here, when we go to browse more AMIs, you have the quick start AMIs, which are the commonly used AMIs by AWS customers. You have my AMIs, the AMIs created by you. Okay, we have the marketplace. So these are the AWS and trusted third-party AMIs which are being created. Lastly, we have the community AMIs, which is published by anyone, and it is not trusted by AWS. Okay, so security and all, the trusting you have to manage. Like if you want to trust it, you can. But if you go with the marketplace, then this is trusted third-party AMI. So right now what I'll do is I'll just go back and I'll be just using the quick start AMI, one of the quick start AMI, that is Linux. So I have this Linux machine. You want to create the Mac OS machine, you can. If you want the Windows machine, you can. But I will be just going with the Linux machine. Okay. So what it is having, this is the 64-bit Linux machine, right? I'm going to use this particular Linux machine. And what is the instance type now that you want to give? So according to the instance type, the vCPUs and the memory that we get would be differing. And also the charge obviously will get differed. So we have T2 Nano, T2 Micro. So this is the T2 family, which is general purpose compute, right? So we do have other compute options as well over here. But I'll be going with the T2 Micro itself, right? It is good for me. So I'll just keep T2 Micro. You can see all other instances. If you want to compare the instance type, you can compare it from here as well. Key pair login. Again, important thing that we haven't discussed in the PPT. But when we are creating the virtual machine, okay, and if I want to get inside of that virtual machine, so I need to SSH into it. So we use the Linux, we have to SSH, that is Secure Shell Connect. Right, so I'll be connecting to my EC2 instances using SSH if I'm using Linux. If I'm using Windows, then I'll be doing RDP, right? So for that, we require a key pair where we can connect securely to our instance by providing that key pair. So you can create a new key pair. You can select proceed without a key pair, but that is not recommended. I've created several key pairs over here. So let me just create a new one for your understanding. So I'll just say demo key pair. Okay, so this is the key pair that we have. What is the type? It would be encrypted with RSA type. Okay, you can select the ED25519 as well, but I just want RSA. Which format you want, .pem or .ppk? So if you want to use it with OpenSSH, you can go with PEM. If you want to use it with PuTTY, then you would be using PPK. So I'll be just going with OpenSSH, that is the PEM file. If you want the PEM to be converted to PPK afterwards also, you can do it using the PuTTY. Okay, so I'll create this particular key pair. So once you create it, it gets downloaded to your system. You have to keep this safe with you, right? The next thing is network settings, that where your EC2 instance would be launched. So right now we are into the North Virginia region. So into the North Virginia region, I have these all VPCs created, right? So I just want to launch this into the default VPC. Into default VPC, under which subnet do you want to launch it? So I'll just keep this into the public subnet because I want the internet traffic to be routed to this particular EC2 instance. So I'll be with the public subnet over here, right? Do you want to assign the public IP? So yes, I want to assign the public IP to this. And now about firewall, that is security group. Okay, so we are creating a new security group over here. Is it compulsory to create security group from here? No. We have other option as well, like into the left hand pane. If you go here, then you would be getting the option of, okay, we would, yeah, over here, security group. See, under network and security, you get security group option over here. You can create security group from there and you can directly select the existing security group as well. But for better understanding, let us just select, create a new one from here. Okay, so I'll just call it as demo est. Right, description is fine. I'm just making this as default description. So security group rules, these are the inbound rules. So by default, which inbound traffic would be allowed? So to this EC2, the SSH traffic is being allowed, which is having port 22 from anywhere. Okay, if you want to say from some custom IP, then you can add here the CIDR. So from only that IP ranges, the SSH traffic would be accepted. Or you can just use your IP address as well. But just for now, I'm keeping it for anywhere. Into production workload, we do not keep this much of, flexibility. We just put the custom or my IP over there. Apart from SSH, do I want any other traffic to be connecting to the resource? So if you want to connect it with the internet, right, then you also want the HTTP traffic. So it is having port 80 and the source type again can be from anywhere. So anywhere HTTP traffic should be accepted. Right. So this is about the security group rule. The next option that we have is storage. So when you go with storage, this GP3 storage, which is the root volume, would be attached with it of 8 GB. If you want to add a new volume, you can add it from here, right? You can change this 8 GB to higher. You can do so, but 8 GB is fine for me as of now. Into the advanced detail, you will be getting, to have the IAM instance profile. Now we have discussed this into the account security module, that if we want our EC2 instance to be connected or to be communicating with DynamoDB or RDS, then it requires permissions and policy attached. So for that, we can create the policies over there. We can create the roles, okay, and those roles can be attached to EC2 into this IAM instance profile. So right now I do not want any role to be attached, right? Next is how to shut down. What is the shutdown behavior? What is termination protection? So do you want to enable termination protection? If this is enabled, no one would be able to terminate your EC2 instance. So by mistakenly, if you do not want your EC2 to be terminated, then you can enable this. I don't want anything as such. Okay. And placement groups are here, that which placement group you want to select. Okay, you can create a new placement group from here. We have not created anything. That's why nothing is being showing here. So if you want, you can create a new placement group. Then the next thing that is being important over here is user data. If you want anything to be loaded into your EC2 instance during the boot time, then you can put it over here. For example, I want the Apache Tomcat server to be loaded. So I can put the data, the PowerShell script over here, right? Or the bash script, because I'm having the Linux. So I'll be running the bash script over here. And the Tomcat would be automatically installed. So let me just put it over here. This user data with me, which would be installing the HTTP daemon on my particular EC2 instance. Okay, so we have number of instances as 1 over here. You can review it from here in the summary. And lastly, you just click on launch instance for launching your particular instance. It will take around 2 minutes of time for getting the instance up and running. So this is just launching right now. It is successfully launched, but when you go to instances, you will see that it is still into the pending state. So there are different states of instance. Okay, pending means when the EC2 instance is just launched, all the configurations are being done. After stop state also, it will be coming to the pending state, right? Then apart from that, we have a running state. So as you can see, it is into the running state now. It means that we have our instance up and running. Okay, so it is ready for use. It is built. When it is into the running state, it will be built. When it is in the pending state, it will not be built. When it is stopped, so the instance is shut down and cannot be used. The instance can be restarted. Okay, if these instance, the public instance, if it is stopped, I can just change the state. How I can change it? I can just select that instance. I can go to instance state and I can start it. So I can restart any stopped instance. But if it is into the terminated state, okay, as you can see over here, you have also option of terminate. So the instance has been permanently deleted and cannot be started. This also will not be built there. So these are the different options that we have for our instance states, right? Instance reboot means here you also have the option of reboot. So you can reboot your instance using console, command line or API. So reboot an instance is equal to rebooting an operating system. So the instance will remain on the same host computer and it will maintain its DNS name, private IP and any data which is stored in the instance volume. But it will take typically a few minutes to reboot to be completing. Okay. And yeah, that's it about rebooting. And lastly, we do have the hibernate. So when you hibernate an instance, we signal the operating system to perform hibernation. That is, which will be saving the contents of instance memory, that is your RAM, to your EBS root volumes. So if you want to persist the instance Amazon EBS root volume and any attached EBS data volumes. Okay. So this is about rebooting. So these are the different states that we have for our particular instance. Now, because this is running, you can also filter your instances over here. Okay, if I say running, suppose, then instance state equal to running. Then you'll be only seeing the instances which are into the running state. So you can see it from here. I'll just refresh it once. You can see sample instance 1, it is running. Now, when I select this particular instance, then you would be seeing that at the bottom, we have certain details. So you have the public IP address, you have the private IP address, you have the DNS name, right? The state of the instance, the type, what VPC it is, into what subnet it is, right? So all of this is being part of this particular instance. You can go to security, check the security group which is being assigned to it. You can go to networking for checking more about networking part, storage. So all of this is particularly available here. I would go back to details, go to public IPv4 address, and I'll try to open this particular address because we have installed the HTTP daemon, right? So it should be running. So let us check for that. So I'll just add a new tab from here. Let's paste this public IP address and you can see hello world. Why I'm able to see this hello world? First of all, the root table, we are launching this instance into public subnet, right? You can see that it is into the public subnet. So with this public subnet, we have one root table which is allowing the internet traffic to be redirected to internet gateway. That is the first thing. Another thing, while creating the security group, we have allowed the HTTP traffic. That's why also it is opening this test page. Okay. Now if you go to details and if you try to open the address from here, okay, this will not work. This will time out. Why? Because when we directly open this particular link, then it is going as HTTPS request. Okay, it is HTTP secure request. So into the security group, we haven't opened the HTTPS port. We have just opened the HTTP port. So you can see it's timed out. Okay. So that's why it is important to understand which all ports you want to open up. Now, if you want to connect to this particular instance, you can connect it from here. You can go inside of this EC2, right? Using the EC2 instance connect. So you can connect it from here. So you are inside of your instance, right? So here you can run any of your Linux command. Suppose I'm running df-h, then it will be listing out the file systems that I have on this particular instance. So any Linux command would be running over here. So this is the web connect, right? Now, what about if I want to connect it from the command line? Then also it is kind of possible. Okay. So if you want to connect it through the command line, then what you have to do is, I'll just take you to the command line. Just give me 1 minute. So this is the command prompt that we have. Okay, what are the directory? Because I basically have my SSH key pair. Okay, that is being downloaded into the downloads folder. So I'll be going there first of all. Then I have to put this particular command SSHI. Then I have to give the key pair file name with the extension. Then I'll use EC2 user, EC2-user at the rate public IP address of our instance. So I will be just giving the key pair file name over here. So the key pair file name that we have put is demo keypair.pem. So I will just put here demo keypair.pem. And after that, we have to also put the public IP of our instance, right? So over here, I will just be deleting this and I'll try to copy the public IP from the console. So this is the public IP that we have, and when I just press enter key, it is asking me for the confirmation. Yes, I want to connect to this. So you can see that we are inside of that Linux instance. Again, here if I just hit this df-h, then I'll be getting the file system same as I got it on the AWS console. So you can also connect to it using the CMD, right? You can also use PowerShell if you want. So this is about the EC2 instance, everyone, right? Now, one more important topic is being left over here is the image builder, the EC2 image builder, that if I want to create my own image, okay, if I want to create my own Amazon machine image, then how to create it. So let us understand that with the help of demonstration as well. Are here in the console of EC2 image builder, I'll just simply click on create image pipeline. From here, we have to put the pipeline name. So it would be my pipeline over here, right? You can also put the description if you want anything. So I'll just copy paste the same thing. You can run this pipeline on scheduled basis, right? You can run it on the cron expression. You can run it manually as well. So I'll just click on manual because right now I want to trigger it manually. If you want to add the tags, you can also add the tags. Now recipe is something that will define that what is the base image that you want to create. Okay. So you can use the existing recipe or you can create the new one. So I'll be creating the new one here for better understanding. So the output type would be the AMI. I don't want to create any Docker image. I want to create the AMI out of this. Okay. The name of this recipe, I'm putting it as my recipe. And you have to give here the version because yes, you can do the version control here as well. Right. So I'm selecting the managed images like the AWS managed images. So basically I'm using this operating system, Amazon Linux 2, right? Out of this, what image ARN do I want to use? So I want to use this Linux 2 x86, right? This is the Linux that I want to use and I want to use the latest operating system version available. The next thing that I want to do is this would be our working directory. Okay. And what all things do you want to install on this particular EC2 instance? So you can install the CloudWatch agent, and the other thing that I want is it's actually on 4th page. So let's go to the 4th page now. We can also search it from the top basically. So I also want this update Linux, which would be, installing all available updates. to this particular OS. So these are the two things that would be actually added to our EC2 instance when we launch it from this particular AMI, right? What are the tests that you want to, execute to verify the output AMI? So I want to execute one simple Linux test, right? So this is the test I want to execute, simple boot test Linux. Once it is added, now what you can do is, these are the storage volumes. You can add new EBS volume, but I'm okay with the root volume itself, which would be 8 GB in size, and it would be GP3, I believe. GP2, yeah, it would be general purpose SSD, right? So that's it. We'll be going to the next step. Into this step, you can create a new infrastructure configuration if you want. So here we have to add the IAM roles and the instance type and all. So I'll be giving this as my VPC instance, suppose. Okay. So description is optional, so I'm keeping it blank. Here you have to give the IAM role. So that IAM role should be having the access to two things. I have this EC2 image builder role. Okay, we'll be creating this role, and to this particular role I have attached some of the permissions. So let us see that what type of permissions we have attached to this role. So I'll be going to the IAM over here, and under IAM I'll be going to the roles. Into roles here I have this image builder, right, to which I have applied two policies, Amazon SSM managed instance code and EC2 instance profile for image builder. These are the two permissions that are attached to this particular role, right? So we'll go back to the image builder, and over here what type of instance do I need? So I will be just going with the T2 micro, right, which is free tier eligible as well. So I'll just put T2 micro over here, added. If you want to create the SNS topics for alerts by EC2 builder, right? So if you want to have such alerts, you can put the SNS topic over here, but I do not want it. You can also specify the VPC that you want to use, but I don't want to change this. If you are not specifying anything over here, then it would be launched into your default VPC, right? And subnet would be automatically selected. So this being said, we are okay with this as well, these configurations. So we'll be going to next. Now we come to the distribution settings. It means that, which region you want this EC2 to be launched. Do you want to share it with other accounts or not? Do you want to have any kind of launch permissions? So I'm just going with the default, service defaults over here. You can create your distribution settings as well, but I'm okay with this default settings. Right, so this being said, we'll be going to next. This is a review page. Once it is done, you can review all your settings and then you can create the pipeline. So it will not take much time in creating the pipeline, but when we start creating the image out of it, it will take a lot of time. Okay, so as you can see, this my pipeline is enabled over here. I'll select this, and into the actions I'll go and I'll say run pipeline. So once you run it, you can see the progress over here into the view details, right? You will see that it is running. It's having total 7 steps, out of which 0 succeeded and 0 failed. So this will take around 10 to 15 minutes, right? So I'll be just pausing this and will be coming back once this is successfully executed. Okay guys, you can see that now all the 7 steps are actually succeeded. I can just refresh once. So 6 steps succeeded and 1 was skipped, right? But in total this is completed, right? The workflow is completed. So where we can see this basically image, we can go to the EC2 instance panel, right? We can go to the EC2 management console. Scroll down below over here, you have under images AMIs, right? So when you go to this AMI, you will see one AMI created. This is the AMI that got created, okay? This is the name, my recipe, right? And now from this particular AMI, you can launch the instances. Okay, so if I just click on launch instance from AMI, then you'll be having the option to name this, and basically other things would be already pre-filled, right? We have selected this recipe. So this is coming which instance you want. So T2 micro is what we have selected. You can change this though if you want to, right? If you want to have the key pair over here, you can select the key pair as well. So sample one is the key pair, right? This is the VPC in which your EC2 instance will get launched. You can select the security group as well. So a new security group, instead of creating new, I can select the existing one, which is for public subnet or say public security group, right? I'll edit this as well because I want to have the subnet preference. I want to deploy this instance in the public subnet, right? So this being said, you can just click on launch instance over here, right? So instance is launched successfully. We can go to the instances. These all are running, and this is test instance for my record, right? And it is running, right? So this is how you can create your AMIs from your image builder. So that's it for this demonstration. So in this module, we have discussed about EC2 instances. We have discussed about AMIs, about the EPS volumes and the different types of EPS volumes. Apart from that, we have discussed about the different pricing options available, right? So that's it for this module. Thank you, everyone.